Welcome back. This is Geometry, Section 2-3. And again, we're talking about logic, and really this is just a bunch of practice. There's very little new, and the one kind of problem that is new I'll talk about. But I'm just going to get right to the problems and work these as examples from your worksheet. All right, number 15 will be the first one. It says, write the contrapositive. Marlene has a red hat if it is not 1 p.m. The first thing we need to do to write the contrapositive is figure out what the original if-then statement is. So we have to put this in if-then form. The if is in the middle of the statement. If it is not 1 p.m. That makes the first part, Marlene has a red hat, the then. All right, so our hypothesis, it is not 1 p.m. If it is not 1 p.m., then Marlene has a red hat. All that does is put this into if-then form. They want the contrapositive. Once you have your statement in if-then form, what do you have to do for the contrapositive? Well, you have to not only take the if and the then part and interchange them, but you also have to negate or make each of them their opposite. All right? So for the contrapositive, the if part will be the opposite of the then in the original statement, the original if-then statement. So we're going to write, if Marlene does not have a red hat, or if Marlene doesn't have a red hat, then, and now I want the first part of the statement, but it's opposite. So it is 1 p.m. It is 1 p.m. If Marlene doesn't have a red hat, then it is 1 p.m. That is our contrapositive of the original statement. Now moving to number 16, they want us to do a similar thing, only now they want us to find the converse. And they give us the statement not in if-then form, so we better start by putting it into if-then form. Apples are not on sale, assuming that Val doesn't go to the store. Remember that assuming that really means if. So the if part of the sentence here, the statement, is if Val doesn't go to the store. So rewriting this is in if-then form. If Val doesn't go to the store, doesn't go to, having some trouble writing today. Then, well, if this is the if part, that must be the then part. Apples are not on sale. Apples are not on sale. All right. That is just the original statement in if-then form. What do you do with the original if-then form to find the converse? Well, you simply take the if and the then and interchange them. So I'm going to write the converse of my original statement. It'll be, if apples are not on sale, are not on sale, then Val doesn't go to the store. Val doesn't go to the store. And that, I'm circling that now. If apples are not on sale, then Val doesn't go to the store. That is my converse. Now down to number 19. So far, when we're talking about conditional statements and biconditional statements, we've not really talked about truth value. We just said, this is a statement, what's its converse, what's its inverse, what's its contrapositive. We haven't talked about whether they're true or false. And now we're going to kind of start talking about that. Remember that a conditional statement is P implies Q. If P, then I'm going to write P implies Q up here. And the statement P implies Q, if it's going to be true, then what we're saying is that whenever P is true, Q has to be true to make this statement true. So the only time this statement's going to be false is if P is true, but Q is not true. When that happens, when you go against a conditional statement, you call that a counterexample. All right? So if your original statement is P implies Q, a counterexample of that is always going to be, you have P, but you wind up with, your hypothesis is P, but your conclusion is not Q, the opposite of Q. All right, so now knowing that, let's do number 19. It says, write a counterexample. If Pepper went to the store, then Iris did not wake up early. That's my original P implies Q statement. What would be a counterexample? Well, the P is Pepper went to the store, and the Q is Iris did not wake up early. The counterexample is P implies not Q, or P implies the opposite of Q. So P, the hypothesis, stays the same. Here's my counterexample. If Pepper went to the store, and what's the opposite of saying Iris did not wake up early? Well, that she did wake up early. So then Iris woke up early. On counterexample, you always take your original if-then statement. The if stays the same, but the then is the opposite. All right, so these will be opposite truth values, a counterexample. And that, in a nutshell, is section 2.3.